Stay for me, a little family for me. You know I love you for me. Please stay with me, stay with me. Oh, a little family for me. You know I love you for me. Please stay with me, stay with me. A little family for me. You know I love you for me. Please stay with me, stay with me. Me, for me, you know I love you for me. Please stay with me. Baby girl, kinda not the way I love you. Every day and night I go still the one to you. Let me be your superstar, gonna take you high to the sky. Oh, love for me, for me. You want me more fair low. Shisha kara kara, Kimberly Fiasha, you're my one desire. I cannot cheat on you, want you like a fool, oh my baby boo. They got me intoxicated, you are rated as my number one. I cannot cheat on you, want you like a fool, oh my baby boo. They got me intoxicated, you are rated as my number one. For me, I love you for me, please stay with me. Me, for me, you know I love you for me. Please stay with me. Pretty angel, you are just like a mirror. Your reflections, I say they're everywhere I go. With you, I can rule the world, and therefore more. Can I do without you for me? I'm your friend, I cut me in. I found you fascinating, your love is captivating. Check your ratings. I cannot cheat on you, watch you like a fool, oh my baby boo.
Welcome to all our listeners around the world. You're welcome to the Tony Tukumbo Fernandez Show, a show that promotes the true life and success stories of African and Caribbean achievers around the world. So if there's a product or initiative you wish to share, feel free to give us a call on 0788 280 9005. That number once again is 0788 280 9005. Or take a few seconds to visit our website at www.tonyfernandez.co.uk. We have some amazing guests lined up for the rest of the year on the Tony Tukumbo Fernandez Show. And also, it's the month of February. Lots of wonderful initiatives taking place. Also, watch this space for my virtual book launch taking place at the end of the month. For my fourth published book, The Good, the Bad, and the Naughty, which is available on Amazon. But today we're moving all the way to South Africa to speak to a young, amazing man doing great work within his community and also promoting the initiatives of his brand and of Soweto. He was born on the 5th of October 1988 in the North Province of South Africa, raised in Soweto in a very humble beginning, and continues to be the change he wants to be in society. So it's lovely to meet for the very first time all the way in South Africa. Terrance, you're welcome to the Tony Tukumbo Fernandez Show. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing good, and you? I'm great.
Great. You seem very, very relaxed, and I'm sure our listeners around the world we want to know a bit about yourself, your background, and the things you're passionate about in life.
Okay, yeah. There's a lot to actually tell people about myself. But firstly, I would like to say humbly so that I was raised by a single mother, of which plays a significant role in my life. I've never had any paternal guidance or stuff like that. But through her love and her spirit, I've been able to touch base with a lot of things, creative things, meet different people, travel the world. I mean, like she has always played, an important role in my life, the upbringing itself. Yeah, so there's a lot. Maybe you can just ask a question in particular, maybe I can give you more on that. But actually, there's a lot to tell people.
There's always a lot to tell people on our show.
Yes.
Our shows are really quite short, but it's all
Yeah.
about promoting people's true life stories.
Yes.
But more specifically, what was life growing up like as a child? And what were the greatest lessons you learning from that kind of childhood, being raised in Soweto?
Okay. I would say I had a very colorful upbringing. As I was growing up, I actually joined an organization called Soweto Cliptown Youth. So in Soweto Cliptown Youth, we actually got so many opportunities, great opportunities, in fact, that I even traveled a lot of places like La Réunion, the UK. I've been to Bradford, the US, Australia. Uh, there's a lot of places, through activities. We were doing campus dance, acting, painting, music, theater itself. So I've been involved with that, and then I ended up even becoming a leader in the organization, leading the program itself, working with children. Yeah, I think that's basically that. That I love about my life, and then it has inspired me to actually keep on and try and help other people as well. When we meet and we talk and try to inspire, try and put that seed in an individual to actually grow in whatever that they're doing. So yeah, that's what I love about myself.
I mean, you've been to Toulouse in France, you've been to Boston in the States, you've been to Bradford in the UK,
Yeah.
you've been to lots of places. What was the most memorable place you visited outside South Africa, and why?
Okay, it was Reunion Island. Reunion Island, the reason why it still lingers in my mind is because if you take a look at the history behind La Réunion, it was developed by a volcano, and then African slaves were actually taken from Africa to La Réunion. And when they got there, in order for them to escape from the colony, they had to create a culture called Maloya. And in Maloya boots, they do what they call mureng. Mureng is like your capoeira, the capoeira dance, but they were using that spiritually to fight for themselves. And that's part of me as well, because maybe one of our descendants or one of our ancestors was there or is there, or our root is there. So for me, I connected with the La Réunion people so easy because they were African as well. Not meaning that I do not connect with Americans or Asians or anyone, but with them, the connection was easier and flowed. And the most important thing is we couldn't hear each other when we spoke, but that deep connection made us understood each other so easy. And that, so in the production that we went to Reunion with, we were doing Gambut stems and they were doing Maloya. Maloya is that mureng that I was telling you about. So now we were fusing the two dances together. So in the performance, I realized that the spirit that we have as an African is common. We have that, stage presence type of thing, the projections. So it was easy. It was really, really, really easy. And it's still part of my life's experience. And I use that and I talk to people about it, about how people are still connected to their cultures. We as South Africans are beginning to be diluted and losing our culture and way of life. We are more westernized nowadays, but the people there are still very, very, very cultural. They focus also on their religion, and their way of life is still, it didn't change as much as to compare to a South African like me. Right now I'm speaking English with you, and I realize and I've known from your blog that you're also from Nigeria. So we speaking English. So you see, the people there are still as committed to their culture. They speaking Creole and not French, but they were colonized by the French people. So these were strong people that actually inspired me, to look into myself. Well, I can't go back to my own history and my own culture and my own way of life, but I can look at the near history, and reflect into it. And that's helping me, and I use that in my art. I paint historical stories, and I talk about historical things I don't know if you have had a chance to actually look at my artworks. They're actually history inclined at the moment, and it's a series that I'm working on. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if maybe yeah.
Now, you obviously have a great thirst for embracing new cultures and the adventure of knowing what's out there in terms of history. Having been raised in South Africa
Yeah.
and grown up there, traveling out to the outside world for the very first time to new cultures and embracing their histories, what did that do to you as a person?
Phew, that actually opened up my mind. When you live in one place, you end up being bottled with the little experience that you have and think the world actually evolves and works like that. So for me, going out there in the world actually expanded how I think, and how I look at things. The culture, the law, and then how people actually work in the day. To give you maybe a typical example, in the UK, I realized in Bradford, where I was in Bradford, it never the sun never set it. I don't know if it set it or it never sets. It's always on, and in South Africa, it gets dark. So there, I couldn't adjust. I couldn't adjust to that, and then I came to realize that okay, you know what is true in South Africa may be false in India. What is right in Nigeria may be wrong in South Africa. So I've learned to actually adjust myself and then be ready for anything that is anything, because by traveling, I realized that anything is anything and everything is everything. You can't be just holding on to one thing. It expanded my mind into that, that openness in thinking, and it helped me.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. And traveling opens your doors into very new
Mm.
spiritual mindsets in life.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
let's talk a bit about South Africa and then we talk about Soweto. But would you
Okay.
say the scars of racism are still bleeding in South Africa today?
Yeah. I mean, like, okay. I think that is a forever battle. These are things that we will always fight with. Racism. It will never end in any place. But here it's even better. I've been to a place in Toulouse, France. I'm sorry to say this on public TV or
Don't be
YouTube or
sorry.
whatever it is. Yeah, but I realized that people there are actually racist. When we were coming, like in the same path, people would turn back. But here in South Africa, they don't turn back. At least they pretend to actually be, even noticing you or liking you or even talking to you. But racism is one thing that we will never conquer today, as long as we still have different colors, different people with different, ideas, ethics, norms, and values. So we value different things for different principles. I think that's one thing that will never accomplish today, and it will never end today. We just need to accept it and know that sometimes also in our small little corners we are racist in some way. It's just a human thing. I would just take it like that.
Now, we're going to talk a bit about Soweto shortly
Yeah.
and also your personal brand made in Soweto.
So
But
yeah.
before we talk about that, what personal achievements are you most proud of in life and why?
I'm proud that I have a brand called Made in Soweto. Once it's named Made in Soweto, it's a big load because everybody looks into it and they want to see what you are actually talking about, or what is your concept like, and then how I've driven my concept. It has been important for me because it's all about conscientizing people about different things and different people, the heroes, the little stories, inspirational stories around our neighborhood. So for me, that is one of the biggest achievements, to actually stand and people then say, I made in Soweto, and I'm going to make sure that people are actually going to learn and know who is Gerald Sekoto, who is Walter Sisulu, who is, because these are figures, you know, and these figures, they have laid a stencil for us in which we can follow, you know. But slowly I'm beginning to see that the youth, actually children, nowadays they don't even know who Mandela is. They only know a face. So my responsibility in the brand is to try and tell you more, to give you more, to be inspired by these people, because they've laid a very good trade in order for us to can follow. You know, the selflessness of the heroes that we have is the spirit that we need in South Africa today, for people to be as selfless as possible. And then Made in Soweto, it's a bridge between people and history, and, you know, continuing people and the previous history. And I try to express this in different ways and formats to try and reach different people of different ages, like using t-shirts, using paintings, using murals on walls, posts on Facebook, poetry, different platforms, different things that I can lay my hands into. I try and conscientize people. So that's why the Made in Soweto brand will continue to live on, and it will continue to be my highest and biggest achievement in life, because this is one thing that I've started from the beginning, and it's still growing and growing and growing, and it will continue to grow as much as I'm around. And I hope and trust that even when I'm gone, maybe one day someone is going to continue on it, because it's a good initiative altogether.
Now, the title of today's show is Made in Soweto for the world to see. Made in Soweto for the world to see. And you've painted over 200 pictures that depict the history, the culture, and the vibrance of Soweto. And I would like you to tell all our listeners around the world today what they should know about Soweto.
Okay. Firstly, I would tell you one thing. Soweto is built on so much passion, and it's been constructed in blood and sweat, and you've witnessed this. This is one thing that I would like people to know, that, you know, Soweto is not just, you know, a place of poor black people or primitive people. It's a place of constructive and good people, you know, and with the 49 neighborhoods that we have around, of different people speaking different languages, it's amazing, you know. And then even right now, the history is still keeping on. We're still having other small heroes, you know, in their own small corners, people doing constructive things in their corners, helping other people. We have organizations. So Soweto is very, very good. It's passionate for me. That's one thing I'd like people to know, that even when you want to visit, just know and expect, you know, the vibrant energy. I think from the airport, all you see is the smiles until you get to Soweto. So African people or Sowetan people or South African people are actually accommodative people, you know, and that's one spirit I like about my people, you know. Yeah.
You know, as Africans, it's our duty and responsibility to control our narrative, our history, our stories, and be the change we want to see in society, and not let people do that for us. How important is that for you? And what does Soweto mean to you?
Yeah, that is very, very important. I actually wanted to talk about it. I'm actually I'm sad that, you know, in all our history, all our stories, as I research and try and read and do that, whatnot, I realize that we are only saying our stories, but we never write our own stories. So in whatever story that I see or I find of a hero, even if it's the truth, I still feel it's coordinated truth, because it's written by white people. You know, for example, Long Walk to Freedom is not written by a black person. So there's some of the truths that is omitted in order to accommodate them, to make them look human, while there were inhuman things that were happening. So our stories will never be told 100% accurate, as long as we ourselves are not telling our own stories. I'm actually inspired by Credo Mutwa. Credo Mutwa tells these stories via video. He would explain a lot of prophecies in videos. At least that is from the horse's mouth. That is spoken as abrupt as possible, and then he's straightforward. He's not biased in his story. If this is going to happen, that is going to happen. But compared to what would be written, it would be made lenient a little bit to be able to be okay with other people, you know. So telling our own stories and giving our own stories and writing our own stories, for me, it's very, very, very important. And I hope and wish that this could be inspired to a lot of our people to actually write their own stories and forget about this white publishing. I'm not bad with white people, or I'm not racist or anything, but I'm tired of the situation where white people are going to write our own stories. They don't have the rhythm and feel. They don't have the talkative skill that we have as a people, you know. And then yeah, I understand, because we were not taught how to write or how to actually construct a story, you know, from the Bantu education up to today. We can talk about ourselves, but we can't write much about ourselves. And we have a lot of experiences, but to put it into wording or a structure is difficult for us. But nowadays, we have young people who are bright, young people are going to schools, people are getting information, people are knowing what to do, when to do. So now we have a chance to rewrite, if that's possible, to rewrite our own stories, to actually give people a taste of the real thing. But I'm inspired also by South African writers that are there already. People like your Ken Temba, Bessie Head just passed. Bessie Head actually wrote a lot of stories that we would read in high school, stories like Maru. So for me, reading that story, you know, even the words, they come in easy because they're in our way of life. Even the type of English is an African English. I don't know if you know about something like that. You know, the wedding from Credo Mutwa, it sounds like that. Wedding from Bessie Head sounds like that. Ken Temba sounds like that. So it is peculiar to me. So that's why it's even easy to grasp that type of history. But try and learn today by the Verwoerd or anyone else. Even the language, it doesn't click with us. So yeah, that's
beautiful. That's fantastic. Now I hope we're going to see some of your work at the moment.
Yeah.
But before we look at your work, the brands Made in Soweto, can you tell our listeners around the world a bit about your brands, Made in Soweto, and the services you provide and how they can reach you?
Okay, Made in Soweto is actually a creative hub, I would say, where we do a whole lot of things. It started with graphics before it would move to fine arts or painting itself. We do flyers, business cards, websites, banners, and murals, online stores, paintings, in order for people to actually reach me or us as a brand, they'll have to go to Facebook, the Epic Terrance Graphics, and then from them we are able to connect with anyone as easy as that.
Okay, so let's see. Yeah. Let's have a taster. Let's see some of your work, some of your samples.
Okay. I don't know if maybe I should show you here, or maybe I should show you from the computer.
That's fantastic.
But this one here, it's Walter Sisulu. It's I don't know. Okay, let me try and adjust here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So this is a Walter Sisulu's piece. The reason why I did Walter Sisulu is the history behind, obviously. Walter Sisulu has been honored with the monument in our country in Kliptown. In 1955, June, the Freedom Charter has been drafted in Kliptown, where Kliptown is a true informal settlement. Even up to today, people are still living in shacks. People are still living without electricity, without proper sanitation, with no school, with no library. Nothing is actually constructed for people in Kliptown, but the Freedom Charter has been drafted there. So the Freedom Charter actually undermines the freedom of the people directly where it was actually drafted in 1955. So many parties were there to actually witness and then be part of this plot. So the reason why I painted it is because I live closer to Kliptown, and the Freedom Charter has been drafted in his, I mean, the monument has been built in his honor. So this is just to try and conscientize people around to go into the square and actually read the clause of the Freedom Charter. So I have another one here. This is the Madiba Piece. So there's an interesting story about this one here. People say, I don't know, what is said is said, but people say this is not Mandela, and for me, it's eyebrows raising, because people say he came looking different. They say this is Makana, and for me, the question is, do you want the individual to look the same, or do you like the impact of his life in your life? Because people, they end up following faces, not actually the stories behind people. So if this is not Mandela, so why was this Mandela constructed? Why was he cloned, if he was cloned, to be able to come back to us and be this figure of freedom? For me, it's still important, because at the end of the day, South Africa needed freedom, no matter what, if he was or not. But this guy actually brought freedom. He created an understanding between people to actually forget about oppressing each other and focus in the well-being of every individual. So a lot of people would look at this and say, Mandela, that guy. But for me, he's still an imperative figure of our freedom. So there's a whole lot of them. I don't know if it's just that I didn't want to move from here, but I could go to my studio. In the wall, there's a whole lot of pieces that I can share with people around. But actually, my style is very simple. I use stencil art. Stencil art is, I start my graphics on a PC. So I manipulate my images from a PC to be able to give me an outcome that I would like right after drawing. So I work on it on CorelDRAW. Then I make sure that it's going to give me the result that I'm expecting. So I start from CorelDRAW, then from CorelDRAW, then I do printouts, then cut stencils on acetate paper. Then from there, I print. And then I don't paint with the spray can. I use paint and sponge. So I like to keep it as traditional like that as possible. To use sponge, use my hand on a stencil, and then redo it until it gives me the outcome that I would like. This is how I do my art.
Now you have a brand that is going to stand the testimony of time in reflecting the values of our history, our culture, and our purpose as a people. So besides Facebook, if people want to get in contact with you with regards to your products and your initiatives and future collaborations, how else can people reach you?
People can still call me on +27 83 398 1104. I can say that again, +27 83 398 1104. So this is a South African number where you can contact me directly. I should be able to talk to anyone from there.
On a very final note, can you tell our listeners around the world why they should visit Soweto?
If you come to Africa or to South Africa and never visit Soweto, you are not in South Africa at all, because the liberation and the freedom of this country that you see today, it is based in Soweto. The history will inspire you to be able to see the place in a different eye. That's my statement for that.
Keep up the amazing work you're doing at the moment. Keep that pearl shining in your hearts to reflect our history and our values. And God bless you always.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for hosting me today. I'm actually honored and humbled, and thank you very much for giving me this platform to be able to express myself. And I hope I've been satisfactory with the answers you were asking me, but it's all from here. Thank you very much.
You haven't been satisfactory. You've been a role model that promotes the essence of this show, which is
Yeah,
promoting the Africans and
yeah,
Caribbeans around the
yeah,
world. No one is going to do it for us. We control our narratives and keep shining
yeah.
our way.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're
Sure.
welcome.